Hi, welcome to my movie review. Um, my movie review is going to be about The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and it was directed by Gary Trousdale and Kirk Wise. Some of the voice actors include Tom Hulse, which is Quasimodo, Tony Jay, who's Claude Frollo, Jason Alexander, who's Hugo, Kevin Kline, who is Phoebus, and Paul Candle, who's the Clopin, and then Demi Moore, who's Esmeralda. The Hunchback of Notre Dame is rated G, so everyone can watch it. And then it was based on the book The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which was written by Victor Hugo. Its genre is kind of like historical, a little, but since it was made into a Disney movie, had the Disney twist on it, which kind of made it fantasy. Um, the animation is like CG. It has CGI moments. So for like walking, like if it's like a far view, there's CGI, and then it's like traditional art as well because it was hand drawn. And you can watch this movie on Disney Plus, YouTube TV, Amazon Prime, which will have it for $3.99, and you can also watch it on like Google Play and Vudu, which is also for $3.99. Um, so The Hunchback of Notre Dame is basically about Quasimodo, who's the main character, and how when he was born like would say disfigured because he has like the hunch. So back then, since it was set in the 15th century of Paris, they thought of him as a monster. And originally, Frollo was gonna, off him because he was ugly and a gypsy. And back then, Paris was not with the gypsies. So I'll keep that in the back. So Quasimodo is like 19 going on 20, and there's like the band going on. And I would say for like the introduction to the characters, the first song is like The Bells of Notre Dame, which literally opens the whole movie and gives like an introduction to who Frollo and Quasimodo are and how they're connected. And then it shows what Quasimodo's been up to, so like being locked in the bell tower and all that. And then the talking stone, which is where the Disney twist comes in, because that's where something was added from where the book wasn't. They added the stone, and one of the stone is literally named Hugo, which is like a kind of a reference to the original author. But the voice acting for it, I feel like the best voice would have to go to Tony Jay, who was Frollo, because his character he really got into character, and you could hear each emotion with that voice. And then like even though Quasimodo was the main character, it has you more interested in Frollo and Esmeralda, what they have going on. I really liked the movie, but I feel like one of the characters, Phoebus, was just kind of thrown in. I didn't feel like he added much to the story except to be the good-looking male lead for Esmeralda, you know? Because I didn't really feel like a connection for them. It was weird to me personally, but I liked Esmeralda because she was the gypsy and she was always dancing, so she was really pretty. I noticed with all of their outfits, like Esmeralda, well, the gypsies in general, they all had color, like they were really colorful and bright, like always wearing purple and gold and stuff, while everyone else were in like washed out colors in like browns and stuff, except for Frollo, who was wearing the black and the purple and was always sported with like these colorful rings. Like everyone else was like looking poor and like they needed help, but he was just over here with his rings on. And then Quasimodo with the baggy shirt that looked like it was too big for him, the big shoes, like he looked really poor and it didn't look like anyone was taking care of him. And then yeah, and one of the songs, I feel like it really popped out. I think it was called God Help the Outcasts, which was sung by Esmeralda, aka Demi Moore. I feel like Moore did like a really good job for the song, and it also brought character to Esmeralda, who didn't, even though she was a gypsy, didn't really care. Like it wasn't her god, but she was praying to them with how bad everything was going on, especially with how Frollo was treating everyone. So for her to pray to help everyone while everyone else was like praying for themselves, she wanted help for everyone. And I feel like that really gave like character, like it shown Esmeralda's actual character. And I feel like here comes my favorite part of the whole like movie, which was Hellfire, which plays after Heaven's Light, which is like from Quasimodo's song. He was, poor baby, like he was like really, he was just kind of there, you know. He didn't know the world, and what he did see of the world, he got shunned. And yeah, so Hellfire happens, and it starts off with the prayer of, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Kyrie Elson, which is basically saying, God have mercy. And it starts off singing that in that tone, like it's like a certain note that's been playing throughout the whole movie, and it only plays when Quasimodo is gonna show up. Not Quasimodo, Frollo is gonna show up. It happens every time. That's how you know he's coming on screen, screen. And his song Hellfire is like the climax of the movie, and it brings like a lot of detail to what goes on in his head, because he thinks he's like the stuff. He sings, like he says bigger words like licentious, and then he talks about his virtue, but he talks about his lust for Esmeralda, but he doesn't think it's his fault. He thinks it's her fault and is basically condemning her. So he was like basically contradicting his prayer. And when he like falls at the end of the song, it's like an upside down cross. And him being the upside down cross plays into what happens later in the movie. And it's like a reference to Esmeralda later on in the movie. But yeah, Hellfire's good. I feel like I feel like all of it was really good. I just think the stone, even though they were like a calling to the original author, I feel like it was really out of place because all these darker themes are going on in the story, and then out of nowhere it's the dancing stone eating birds, you know? I don't think it really was helping what was going on. But it basically, even though the movie's about Quasimodo, it really just does the venture of what Frollo's doing. Frollo's more fleshed out than Quasi, and I feel like if they were gonna do the movie, like if it's gonna be about the Hunchback, have it a little more towards what the Hunchback has going on, even though it really is out in the open. I'd like a little more character depth into what he's actually thinking. But I was surprised by one character. He was one of the gypsies. He's the one that does the opening to the Bells of Notre Dame. I really liked his thing. because he like really got into it, like used a lot of oomph in it, and it was very recognizable. But I give it like I want to give it like a solid 4 because the music was good, the characters were good as well, and like the character designs and stuff. But I wouldn't give it the point because of the stone. It was really holding me up, and it really tripped out the movie because it kind of just breaks what's going on for the movie. But I give like and if you want any more recommendations that are similar, I'd say Pocahontas and Aladdin are kind of similar because they also kind of get historical but still keep a little fantasy twist on it. And that's the end of my review. So, Hunchback of Notre Dame, 4 out of 5 stars or popcorn. And tune in next time.